What if I told you that you could clear your OCD thoughts by diluting the muddy water?
I know, it sounds weird.
But stay with me. Just like adding clean water to dirty water, it actually makes it clearer. Doing exposures for OCD can actually retrain your brain. And the best part, you can do it right now. You don't have to wait. Think of your OCD as a glass of black, dirty water. Those are those intrusive thoughts and those compulsions that you do. They're the dark stuff clouding your mind. They make everything seem so murky, and it's hard to see through it. But here's the good news. We've got a way to clear up that water. Dun 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 dun. Exposure and response prevention, or ERP. Don't run. I know you've probably heard me say this before, but each time you face a fear, you're pouring a little more of that clean water into the glass. Over time, you're adding more clarity. So that black water starts to look a lot clearer. This doesn't mean that you won't still have doubts, but the gravity of those thoughts lose their power. But how do I do it, Nate? I'm glad you asked. In the next few minutes, I'm gonna share some examples of how you can do this at home. You can be your own OCD therapist. You know that thing that you're most afraid of doing? That one that makes your just skin crawl when you think about it? You're like, I'd never do that. What if I told you that's exactly what you need to do to beat your OCD? As long as you're not breaking your morals or your values. But there's a method to this madness, and it's backed by science. ERP is like your personal OCD dilution system. And here's how it works. You face your fears head on, but here's the kicker. You don't give into those pesky compulsions. Here's a real life example. Say you've got contamination OCD. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to touch the doorknob that you've been avoiding. Not wash your hands out of any anxiety. Maybe you're high-fiving people. You're sitting in those spots your brain says you can't. You're eating that food that sounds scary. But here's where it gets interesting. After you've done the exposure and you resist the compulsion, we're really honing on these responses. It's either I may or may not totally get sick. Cool. Maybe, maybe not. That would be so great if I got sick right now. I would love that disgust feeling. Oh man, that grossness. Yeah. Awesome. Love it. Could totally happen. Sweet. Love it. We're sitting with this discomfort. We're using all these responses like we just don't care. How can I take this value away from it? Maybe I'm using some uncertainty responses. I don't really know, but I'm willing to take the risk because I can't keep avoiding. We're sitting with this until that distress reduces, sometimes by half, but if it doesn't go down, that's okay too. When we're not doing those compulsions and we're continuing to work on it, we take a break and then we do it again. And then we take a break and then we do it again. What happens next is pretty cool. Your anxiety will spike, sure, but if you hang in there, you know, the usual hand washing routine that you don't do, you're facing those fears, your anxiety will start to come down on its own. Your brain's like, hey, maybe this isn't as dangerous as I thought. Even though I don't know the future, like, I guess we can risk it. Hey, and if you don't have contamination OCD, this can apply to your theme as well. It's no different. For example, let's switch gears to harm OCD. Imagine you're having a thought about hurting someone you love. Your ERP mission might be to hold a kitchen knife while standing near your partner. Maybe that's your thing. I don't know. Always talk to a therapist before you do anything. But that might sound really intense right off the bat. So it could be maybe I'm drawing pictures of a knife. I'm standing near people near a bridge. I'm gonna walk closely to people. I'm just gonna look at those who I feel like I could possibly harm and be like, allow my brain to just be like, I don't know, but I'm not avoiding anything. It sounds intense. We're not actually doing anything harmful. You're going to feel like you are. You're going to feel maybe the sensations, all that, the urges, impulses, I don't know. It's going to feel super risky, but that's kind of the point. Because what happens when you realize nothing happened, you didn't do anything to prevent it, you're like, you're a bunch of baloney. You told me I was in danger and nothing happened. You a liar. People always say, but what if I actually did give in to whatever? Well then, bummer. I mean, I guess, bummer. It could happen. Anything can happen. That's kind of the whole point. That's why we use the maybe, maybe nots. But we know anxiety mixed with those intrusive thoughts, mixed with I have to do an urge to do something to get this feeling to go away. OCD, man. Each time you do an exposure like this, you're adding that clear water to this OCD glass. You're teaching your brain that these thoughts are uncomfortable, but maybe they're not actually as dangerous as I think they are. You can start doing this at home. You don't need fancy equipment. A therapist is great if you have that option. Not everybody has that. If you need a little help with that, go look at my course down below. I linked it there for you. Imagine you're dealing with moral scrupulosity. You're constantly worried about being a bad person. You write down sentences that make you feel like you're breaking your morals or values, but you're not actually going to do that. Because those are some of the rules about ERP. We're not gonna break the law. We're not gonna break your values. We're not gonna break your morals. That's why I said it makes you feel like you're going to. Something like, I hope my friend fails on their exam. Or maybe I've done something dishonest today. Awesome, cool, I love it. Hope I cheat, that'd be really cool. Just because I say it doesn't mean I actually hope I cheat, but I'm gonna feel like it. But I'm gonna do all these things without seeking reassurance, and then I'm gonna move forward, pretty much telling my brain I simply don't care anymore. I'm willing to risk that the threats you're giving me maybe aren't correct. Your anxiety will probably spike. That's normal. You might continue to have thoughts. That's all right. But you resist the urge to erase it. You don't pray for forgiveness. You don't ask somebody if you're a bad person. You let those uncomfortable feelings be there without fighting them. It's like watching a storm pass from inside your house. You just watch it. You don't have any control over it. It's just gonna do what it's gonna do. How much of that clear water are you adding to the glass? You're teaching your brain that no matter what, no matter how uncomfortable the thoughts are, they just don't have much value. And if you use this for reassurance, I will find you. Nah, I won't. Now I won't sugarcoat it. This process can be tough. Exposures require you to tolerate this anxiety higher than you're probably used to. But here's the good news. It is short-term discomfort versus the long-term discomfort that you would get if you chose to not do exposure and response prevention. Imagine what clear OCD glass water would be. Like, what would your life look like? You start acting like that person you want to be because you're the one that's holding the pitcher of water. You have the choice if you're gonna do this or not. All right, I get it. You get the analogy. One thing I really want you to get out of this is that you do not have to suffer. You don't have to wait to take action. You don't have to be like, well, once I finish school, once I have money for this, it's like, you can do it now because OCD is not waiting for you to be ready. Do it now. I know the process isn't easy. It takes time, it takes effort, but every exposure counts no matter how small. Even if it's a teeny drop of water in the cup. So here's my challenge to you. Maybe you try one small thing today. Could be as simple as touching a doorknob, writing down a certain phrase, facing a fear that you already know you probably need to face. Use the responses you need to use. Maybe nots. Or you're agreeing with it and you're just like, cool, awesome, hope I get sick. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, awesome, might do something, who knows, cool, ha, big smile on my face, yay. Taking value away from this thing and not doing the compulsion, we can do it, man. And I know there's a video here. It's like, hey, watch me next. You wanna do this exposure, you wanna do this challenge? Go watch me, click on it, I'm calling your name. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. It's either I made, or maybe I done